Brighton. This is the first place we've been since we got in London. We landed, picked up. There's Charles and Lou and Raymond. We're headed down to look at a castle here. Y'all having fun yet? This is what we're coming to see. We're going to go inside here in just a minute. And this is in Brighton, England. And
Palace.
it's a palace. I'm not sure.
Bush Palace.
The what? Bush Palace. We're going to go in there in a minute. Take a look. This is the Royal Pavilion that I'm going to. There's Raymond, Charles, and Lou over there at the entrance to it. This thing's got some very unusual architecture. And this is in Brighton, Hove, England. It's just an old palace, but it's got some very unique structures to it that's, I think, very unusual, very interesting architecture. This was built back in the 13th century, I believe they said. And you can see it's got some well built on it. And there they go. Another look at it here that's kind of interesting. It's just got so many different points and things to see. But it's that is something else.
Goes all the way around the block?
Yeah, it goes around the whole block, so it's a big outfit. We thought we'd get the name of this bar. It's called a Ha Ha Bar.
You'll go in.
I don't know if they're going to go in or not, but that's the Ha Ha Bar. This is in downtown. There's been flowers everywhere around here. That's really pretty. The way all the flowers. There's a kind of a centerpiece here in the park. Kind of unusual. You see the big building in the background. Raymond wanted me to get a shot of this town. It's just old. It's just all like this. It's just ancient. No telling how old it is. There's Charles and Lou across the way there. There goes Raymond there. But this is a very quaint old town. This is down this same street. A little better view of it.
You're going to get that out. Here's
I'm in the
White
wrong-
Cliffs of Dover. This is the White Cliffs of Dover you've heard so much about. There's old fort emplacements in them. I don't think you can see it. It was used during World War II to ward off the people in the channel. See an old fort there that part of our bunker. It's kind of hard to tell much about it, but as we come around a while ago, there you can see the old bunkers, gun emplacements. And here you can see where they've been covered up. They've been stuccoed up, cemented up. Those dark spots. Gun emplacements were.
take it on that side.
I can get it up. We're at the White Cliffs of Dover, taking a castle across the way on the cliff. We've been trying to get to it, but we can't locate it. But it's over on top of the White Cliffs of Dover, at Dover, England. You can kind of see it's old and rustic. Okay. On the White Cliffs of Dover, looking out over the channel. As you look here, we can see a ship out there. Got one leaving out here. It's real windy up here today, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of interference in this. As we go back around, I'm going to pick up a castle that I had one ago. Back across the way, you can see it over on the mountain.
Pay to get me.
This is the Cathedral of Canterbury Here, as you can see, it's a big deal. It's quite a cathedral, old timer. I don't know what the age would be of it. I'm fixing to go through it here and take a look at it. Really something. This is inside the cathedral here of Canterbury. You can see it's a huge thing. You can see the structures and the columns, and everything that's in it. Huge thing.
No, nothing in here.
This is inside the sanctuary here. You can see the stained glass windows and the deal. Really something elaborate. Pass on around and you see the other things they've got. And back the other way you see the entryway going back. The vestibules. This is inside the cathedral. This is giving a picture of the plate glass, the stained glass windows. You see how intricate they are. Lots of them. This is the fourth drove of this old bronze excavation building. We've been looking for this for half a day now. We finally found it, we think. We're not positive yet. The excitement has been building for hours but we finally made it, and we have found the 4,000-year-old wheel. What's your first impression, Charles?
It was worthwhile.
There's two more excited young ladies that's been anxiously awaiting to see this 4,000-year-old wheel. But we're really enjoying it.
We never would find it.
Yeah. This is a Bronze Age house where like the people lived back during this particular period of time that we're talking about here, about 400 BC. This is a replica of it. Quite interesting. Okay, this is our home last night. I swear.
Oh, we didn't get it.
Yeah.
We had the camera.
I get it right here. Go ahead. This is our home right last night when we stayed in bed and breakfast. Pretty nice little deal. Had a good breakfast. What's interesting though is the way we get in here. Show you the little trail we had to go up. This was kind of a sneaky place. We like to
Watch that trash can there. I got it last night.
This is where you come out of this place. The roads over here are a little bit
Oh, yes.
small,
Car parked really nice.
and it
for
looks
us.
like you're gonna catch the car. You come around,
Bit narrow, huh?
a bit narrow.
We're almost out.
Oh, without Walker done a good job here on the left side there. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
This is the Fountain Abbey. We're down on a river bottom, and this dates back to the 11th century. You can see it's a bunch of monks lived here, built this farm, and they controlled this area. It's a very beautiful country. It's just as green and lush and everything as you can imagine. It's really something. Go back up here, and here was the trail we came down a while ago to get down here to it. But the trees and everything are very old, and you hear lots of birds in the background, and the ruins that you see here very old. There's Raymond, Charles, and Lou looking it over. Very, very old. This is inside this monastery, this abbey fountain, and it's this is looking back into the back part of it. You get here, this thing's got all kinds. It's got monks' quarters and all that stuff. But of course, these are ruins back, like I said, in the 11th century. So everything is very, very old. This is where the lay monks lived and stayed in this hall here. This is part of the, still part of this thing. It's, as you can see, this was inside one of their worship halls. This is a walkway inside, and over this way you have where the old hall was, the temple. If you walk over here, you can get an idea. It's kind of Raymond Lou, they're looking at this.
This was the church part, though.
I know it. This is the worship part, isn't it? It's amazing this thing's still standing all these years after the 11th century. It's hard to believe that it would, but you can see old columns and things still standing. That's 11th century. That's a long time ago. Kind of amazing. You see these old parts of this building standing after so long a period. And there's an old fossil down at the end of the hall down there. You can see it sticking its head around the corner.
He's been standing a while, too.
Yeah. He's nearly as old as these buildings. You can kind of see what fossil I'm talking about. Oh, there's a unique fossil right there.
These,
Some interesting designs around these walls, and there's little seats or stands for something. We don't know what they're for. But this was, when you think about this, was here before America was discovered. Before. Just amazing. But I don't know what these designs are all the way around them. And as you can see, they got little rock seats or stands. They're all the way around this thing. I don't know what they're for. Let's get an outside view. I'm gonna take a sweep here, starting over there, and you can see the ruins here. But it's just amazing that any of it's still standing over this long a period of time. And you can go on over here and you see the sides of the river here where the stones evidently were cut out. And then you can see this thing just goes on for a long ways down that way. There's lots of history here if you just knew all about it. Kind of interesting here because their water supply, they just built a wall over the river. You got a river coming down there and they just built over it. That way they could get their water without having to go outside. This is building's all destroyed except the base of it. And but it's amazing that they could do all this without concrete. They just used mud from the Fountain Abbey from back off down the river a ways from it. Makes it a real pretty picture. This is part of the grounds where we were been at the old ruins of the. And this is the Springs area. They've really got it fixed up. It's nice. Very pretty then in here. Manicured. Everything's that way around here though. Go back around here to our travelers. They're getting a little weary. Y'all resting up?
We're sitting where the monks once sat.
Oh, okay. Y'all replacing the monks.
Whatever.
Here's the countryside. There's some deer out there. Let's see if I can pull him up a little bit.
the land. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of them. Do you see more over here, hon?
Okay. And take right here to the old church called St. Mary's Church. It's out here in the Wildwood, as you can see. There's Raymond Lou headed back up the way. We're going hiking across the country here. It's a big, big area where this castle was, the old monastery and everything. It's big area. This is St. Mary's Church here. An old timer. Thought I could find a date on it, but I didn't. But it's out here. There's some people just drove up in that car. Lady went in, so I guess it's still accessible. This is Hadrian's Wall here. This was back in the 1st century. The Caesar got this wall to protect the heathens from the Romans, he said. And you see it going over the mountain. This follows a mountain range here for about 50, 60 miles. This one, 75 miles, that's correct. So that's a lot of rock by a lot of people over a long period of time, but it was to protect the land that Hadrian's that had conquered this land up this far from Roman during the Roman Empire. Looking back the other direction, hard to believe this goes for 77 miles, but of course it's a lot taller than this. There's Raymond in there. Okay. It's one of the streets in Scotland here. We're in Edinburgh, Scotland. It's the old steeple there in building. It's a windy day, cloudy day in Edinburgh, Scotland. But this is looking out over at the Edinburgh Castle, looking out over a wall, out over town. You get an idea of how old it is. As we look out over it, we're fixing to make a little more. Old castle, old peak over there, real old. I'm gonna try to pull it up. See how old that thing is. Looks like it got moss on it. This is I'm up on top of the Edinburgh Castle, and this is one of the structures up at the very top. And as you can see, it's a very popular tourist attraction. Of course, they got the old cannon emplacements and everything. You can see the big cannons over there. Still in place from back from a long time ago. This is one of the cannon, yeah, we have to fire it out here. One of the portholes where they fired the cannons from up on the castle here to protect it. They would fire out over the channel. I guess it's ships that might be coming in bringing foreign troops. You can see it was 1615, if I can pull that up. The date on that wall. And you notice the gold trimmings. Those up there, yeah, those are gold. At least they appear to be from here. This is rainy and drab today, but this is Edinburgh Castle. Looking at the back side, you can tell how it's been set up on the hill that's on the cliff. They're doing some work here, so you see some stuff on the extraneous stuff on the right where they're taking down towers. They had an art festival here. But anyway, it's pretty neat. We're here at the Blues Ancestors. We'll call it the Rose Castle. Blue's fixing to make her entrance to the castle. By the flowers. Blue's at her castle entrance here. On the Rose Castle here. We're not real sure what it is, but that is some kind of a funny tree. I'm gonna pull in one of those little possums here pulling them.
I've never seen one look just like
See little round balls. I don't know what those things are. Right there it is.
that.
Crazy looking. This is a Sitka spruce in the gardens here at the Rose Castle. They're big, big trees. Of course, you can't see up how tall and big it is, but it just goes way up in the sky. It's across the garden here at Rose Castle. Kind of an interesting little view here. In the Bible, it talks about the cedars of Lebanon, you remember, and this is that's what this tree is. Kind of an unusual looking tree. It just goes up, and it's lots of. That's the cedar of Lebanon. Read about that a lot. Huh?
No odor?
No odor on it? Huh. This is looks like a redwood here, like out in Northern California, but as you can see, it's a big, big tree, but it's called a welderwood, which I've never heard of that. And all of this is in near Inverness, Scotland, which is up in the Highlands in Scotland. This tree, we couldn't figure out what the name of it was a while ago, is called a chili pine, or a monkey puzzle. That's what it's called. It's a strange tree. Those limbs and leaves on it just like a knife. This is the Rose Castle. Got back a ways here so we could see it and get a overall view of it. Had some beautiful trees here on this, some very unusual ones. I can't imagine they have to be very, very old.
There's another deal right up here.
It's not on there. So looking out across the countryside of Scotland, that's just the way typical. All the mountains and the sheep and the going around here. Whoa, there's Nezzy down there. Sure as the world. This is a lock net.
Tell us again, would you?
We go down here and turn where?
Okay, I will do.
We turn where?
You get straight along this road and head for the Clyde Tunnel.
You got that? Yeah, I've got that.
You get through the Clyde Tunnel about a mile
Yeah.
and you come for Glasgow city centre.
City Centre.
Glasgow.
Yeah, Glasgow City Centre.
Yeah.
Got you.
You'll go along a
You're
motorway there.
doing better on English.
I think I'll come with you, I'll direct you. And take me home with you.
City Centre, we get there. Okay.
No, you don't go to the city centre, but you go on the road toward the city centre. That's a signpost.
City centre.
City
Go
centre.
on the
Okay.
Glasgow.
road to the
Yeah.
city centre.
But just about a couple of mile along that road, you'll see a sign for Govan. So it's a wee bypass off the road.
Okay.
All right.
If you take the top of that, take a right, the
Right.
top of that wee bypass,
Okay.
and follow the road round, and that'll take you to Ibrox, or Pollock. You know, that'll take you near Pollock, but if you stop somebody there and ask somebody there how to get to Pollock Park, it's quite complicated. I mean, I think I've confused you enough now. Okay.
Come see us.
Come to Texas sometime.
All the best.
Yeah. Thank you.
day.
We just got instructions to get to my castle.
Fast.
We're driving into my old home place, the Maxwell Estate. As we're traveling down here, we haven't got access to the house yet because it's a large, nice entrance. And we're driving into it. And this came from the Rose Castle, but it's, you know, it looks like it's paling in comparison. This is the Povich house, which is where my ancestors, the Maxwells, he added some of this built structure on. This is the Maxwell. I guess it's not quite a castle, it's called a house, but as you can see, it's good size and it's a very old structure. But back in the, I believe it was the 14th century when it was built.
Hey, we're getting him here.
This is in the Maxwell Garden. This is in the Maxwell Garden here. You see the walkway, a very pretty area here. Sweep on around. That may be bright sunlight there. Out over now present day golf. Here's the back of the Maxwell Castle here in Glasgow, Scotland. Kind of a flower backyard here. You see it's, this would be the back of the house, and it goes out manicured backyard here and out across the present day golf course. This thing stretches on out along the river.
When you go get the station.
This is the lowlands, well, and some trees.
More trees, lots of trees.
Little little cottage that we stayed in last night. It's September the 12th. Well, it's on the camera. Neat little county that doesn't look that great. This is where Robert Burns' mother was born. In this little cottage. Of course, it's been redone. I'm sure at one time it looked like this old fence here. All of these houses, there's the main house here where the people live that we rented this from. But they're solid rock and they're about 3 foot thick. They've redone it. It looks real nice inside. We've slipped around behind the castle here. Colzine Castle. And getting a look at it here before it opens. Opening a little later than we expected. This is another shot of it here. This is kind of the courtyard, and slipped on around a little ways. Castle's back in there, but.
On a high cliff top, commanding the view across the Firth of Clyde to the Isle of Arran and Ailsa Craig, stands Killane. There may always have been a castle on this cliff, on the lookout for Irish or Norse invaders. We know there was a castle there in medieval times, and that it was rebuilt by Thomas Kennedy, known as the Tutor, in the 16th century. But most of the Killane of today dates from Scotland's Golden Age, the 18th century.
Here's the entrance to the Killane Castle. Walkway going up. Walk on down there. There's Raymond, Lou, and Charles headed for the entrance there. We're going to tour back in there. It's quite an impressive castle, I tell you.
The others. The reason we couldn't see it here.
Yeah.
Lots of birds.
Looking out over the grounds here in front of the castle. Killane Castle. Still in Scotland. Quite an impressive grounds. Got over 500 acres here, and even now, and of course, had been in the thousands back in the 17th century.
Sit in here.
Just a second. All right, here's two exhausted travelers taking a little wake here. What are you doing? Okay. All right, back on here now. All right, y'all are relaxed, aren't you? Caught napping. That's all right.
No sheep out there.
No sheep.
There he is.
This is typical Scotland hillside here. We're traveling along a little superhighway and
Right here we could get some.
trying to catch a little bit of this terrain here.
Here,
Just-
doll.
Oh, here on the right.
okay, here we go.
I mean, right.
Whoop.
Sheep.
Well, there you can see kind of what we're doing.
Sheep well.
But it's a typical, there's sheep way over yonder. And this is we've been seeing this for miles across some of this country here.
And this is the lowlands.
Yeah, this is the lowlands, but very pretty. swing back around here. I don't know how this is going to turn out. Charles hadn't cleaned his windshield in a day or two, so.
I'm anxious to see these.
Had a little mist
Yeah.
on occasions.
Yeah. Anyway, it kind of gives you a sweep of the area.
Here we go, right here.
Yeah, this is a ooh.
Just a big truck.
But this is one of the super highways.
Super,
That's pretty
super
over,
Yeah.
over there.
Right.